What's going on, y'all? It is Gamers Goon here today with your Prem League predictions for week 1. And I gotta pull up my notes real quick because I did write it out. And I will be giving you scores. Later today, we have Man City and Burnley. At Burnley, believe it or not, I was kind of shocked that Burnley gets the home opener to start the season. But this one, let's be honest. Yes, I do think Vincent Company and Burnley will stay up. If you watched the video earlier, I do think they will have enough firepower to stay up this season. Let's be honest, City is a different beast to face. I don't know if they are ready for the task, especially game number 1. So, for the time being, I'm going to give it a 3-0 win to City. Obviously, you got an insane City team. Obviously, with Holland up top, he'll probably have a goal or two today. Kevin De Bruyne up there. You got, I don't even know if Phil Foden's going to be in the starting lineup. That's how good their team is, and Phil Foden's been good. You got Kyle Walker there, who might or might not be getting transferred. You got Ruben Diaz. You got Ederson there. You got a lot of guys there that I think just are going to be way too much for Burnley to handle, especially first game of the season. I expect some growing pains there for Burnley. Man City gets it done week 1, and they get their 3 points out of Burnley. And we got Nottingham Forest traveling to Arsenal, who is my team. I'm going to be honest. I think this is going to be a good game for the Gunners. Obviously, Matt Turner is the opposing goalie, or at least assumed opposing goalie for this game. They just picked him up, Nottingham Forest did, and I do believe he will more than likely start tomorrow against Arsenal. And I've seen a lot of Arsenal pages and stuff saying, well, it's going to be one of two ways. A, Arsenal is going to dominate, and Turner's going to be the inside man in it. I don't think that's going to be the case, to be honest. Or Turner's going to have the game of his life. I also don't think that's going to be the case. I think Arsenal will go in, handle business. I know a lot of people are thinking, oh, this is a game that Arsenal needed to win 3-4-0. I don't think you do that week 1. I'm going to be honest. I don't think we do that week 1. We still need guys in shape. Zinchenko, I imagine he will play. I believe he is getting back into health. I don't know if he will play, but I think I wouldn't be surprised if he plays a little bit. I don't expect him to run a full gate or anything like that. Let's see here. Our probable lineup tomorrow is Ramsdale, Ben White, Saliba, Gabriel, and Timber. I think that's more than likely going to actually be the starting lineup. I don't think Zinchenko is going to be ready to start in this game. Then we got Odegaard, Rice, and Havertz there in the midfield, and Saka, Trossard, and Martinelli. I would not be surprised if Trossard's replaced with Nketiah. Nketiah is somebody they like. Obviously, we've seen some teams that could potentially go in on Nketiah. I think Crystal Palace was one of them. But Trossard's had a great preseason. He's been one of our best players, if not our best player, the entire preseason, scoring goal after goal, doing his thing, keeping us alive in the Community Shield game. Trossard's been phenomenal for us. So I wouldn't be surprised if Trossard does start, but I could also see it being Nketiah. Obviously, we played Havertz up top against City last week. I don't think that's happening again. Obviously, you needed a bigger body there up against Holland, but I don't think you're going to do that here in this game. So I could see it either being Nketiah or it could even be Trossard. But either of those are not bad options. I don't think you're playing Partey. I don't think you're putting him in the midfield and using an extra midfielder next in this game. I really don't. And then Forest, not really too scared of anybody there. Brennan Johnson, he will be solid for them, I guess. Then you got Morgan Gibbs White, Danilo, Ainana, Mangala, Yates, Aurier, McKenna, Boley, Worar, and more than likely Matt Turner. I'm not really particularly scared about any of those guys, but I wouldn't be surprised if somebody like Gibbs White or even Brennan Johnson get a goal here for them. I think we win 3-1. I think Arsenal wins 3-1. Next game, who do we got? Actually, why don't I do that? Why don't I go through the predicted starting lineups? So Burnley and City. Burnley, they're going with Muric, DeKeel, O'Shea, Beyer, Roberts, Burge, Cork, Redmond, Brownhill, Zohri, and Foster. Like I said, that doesn't match up against this Man City team, who's expected to go with Holland, Jack Grealish, Bernardo Silva. They're supposed to go with, I believe, Alvarez. Phil Foden is supposed to start. Okay, Rodri, Stones, Ake, Akanji, and Walker, and then obviously Ederson. Like I said, that's going to be a tough game for Burnley. Next, we got West Ham versus Bournemouth. Let's go into West Ham versus Bournemouth. Their starting lineups are looking like for Bournemouth: Nato, Mempham, Zabarini, Sensei, Milos Kirkez, who I do like there on the wing back position. You got Cook, Billing, Otara, Christie, Anthony, and Solanke. And then you're going for West Ham, who's going to go with Bowen, Benrahma, Antonio, Paqueta, Downs, Susek, Emerson, Aguirre, Zuma, Kufal, and Fabianski. Like I said, neither of these teams particularly excite me long term this season. If you watch the video, I think they're both going to finish probably that lower mid-table. But I could see this game being a good game, unironically. I'm going to have it being a draw at 1-1. We'll go 1-1 for my score prediction there. Brighton versus Luton. Oh, goodness. Luton, they got to travel to Brighton. First game of the season. Brighton's throwing out Steele, Veltman, Dunk, Webster, Estupinan, Gross, Dahoud, however you pronounce his name, March, João Pedro, Matoma, and Welbeck. And then on the Luton side of things, they got Adebayo, Morris, Doughty, Chong, and Nakamba, Mpanzu, Kabore, Bell, Lockyer, Anderson, and Kaminsky. Brighton's going to win this game. They're going to win this game, let's be honest. I'm very interested to see how João Pedro does. He last year played for Watford, and I'm excited to see what he can do this season in the Prem. But I don't think either of these teams necessarily are going to have great first games. Obviously, Brighton's going to have to figure things out with more than likely selling Caicedo before this game. But I do think Brighton ends up winning this game 1-0. I do think they end up winning that game. Fulham versus Everton is our next game. And once again, another game that I could see going either way. Their starting lineups for Everton is Pickford, Patterson, Godfrey, Tarkowski, and Young. Garner, Onana, Guy, Ducour, Iwobi, and Malpe. And then for Fulham, you got Jimenez, Willian, Reed, Wilson, Lukic, Reed, Robinson, Bassi, Diop, Tete, and Leno. So both of these teams I think are in that higher mid-table. Well, no, Everton I don't think is in that higher mid-table, but Fulham's a team I think is in the higher mid-table. Everton, a team that I expect to be close to relegation. But I do think that this game, at the beginning of the season, is a game that both teams could win, to be honest. I'm going to have it being a draw, 2-2. But ultimately, I think it will be a good game. Then we get Palace versus Sheffield. They will be traveling to Sheffield to play. And the predicted lineup for Sheffield is Fordingham, Ahmedazovic. I don't know if I pronounced that right. Egan, Robinson, Baldock, Slimane, Norwood, Osborne, Lau, Osula, and Traore. And then for Palace, you got Edouard, Schlupp, Eze, Ayew, Lerma, Ducour, Klein, Guayu, I don't know how to pronounce his name. Mark's his first name, but the center back there for Palace, Anderson, Ward, and Johnston. But I do think Palace wins this game. Once again, another newly promoted team not having enough firepower I do think that not necessarily Palace is that great. I think they'll be a high mid-table team, but once again, I think they win 1-0. Newcastle versus Villa. This is going to be a fun game. This is going to be actually a real fun game. I do think both of these teams will have good seasons. Newcastle, they're going with Nick Pope, Trippier, Lascelles, Sven Botman, Byrne, and then they go in Sandro Tonelli, Guimaraes, Joe Linton, Almiron, Isaac, and Gordon. And then on Aston Villa's side of things, you're going with Ollie Watkins, Diaby, Bailey, Louise, Kamara, McGinn, Digne, Mings, Konsa, Cash, and Martinez. I think this is going to be a good game. I really do. Could see it going either way. This early in the season, I could. But I'm actually going to give a 3-2 win to Villa. I think Villa wins this game 3-2. Next game, we got Brentford and Tottenham. Unfortunately for Brentford, and there is no predictions for the lineup here on this just yet. Brentford and Tottenham. Let's go to Brentford's most recent lineup, if I can find it. Who they play last? They played Lille last. No. They played Villa. There's nothing there. Does Brentford not have a roster? They do not have a roster accumulated. So let's see if I can go through. Obviously, David Ray is not going to be there. Who's going to start at goalie for them? Would it be Flecken? It might be Mark Flecken. I don't know who they're going to go with. Brentford's going to struggle this season. Obviously, Ivan Toney not going to be there. For Keane Lewis Potter will probably start. But Ivan Toney not being there will hurt them. Tottenham obviously sold Harry Kane. Could change what my original prediction was. And I'll just move it down 1 point. I still think Tottenham wins this game 1-0. I had them winning 2-0, but I'm going to have them winning 1-0 without Harry Kane this weekend. Liverpool and Chelsea, I'm going to assume they also don't have lineups. Yep, they don't have lineups either. Chelsea could be getting Moises Caicedo any day now. Same thing with Liverpool. Both of these teams, maybe the winner of this game gets Caicedo. I don't know. But both of these teams in a battle for Caicedo, both of these teams will be battling it out on Sunday. Both teams, I think, are maybe 1 or 2 moves away from really solidifying where they'll finish this season. I think both of these teams have holes to fill still. And once those holes are filled, they're really going to shape out where they will finish in the Prem. I think I had Chelsea finishing higher than Liverpool in my video. And I think it depends really on a couple different factors of how they finish out this transfer window. I don't think either of these teams are finished products at this point in time. So for that reason, I'm going to have Liverpool win. I do think Chelsea will finish higher at the end of this. Because I do think they'll end up getting Caicedo, who will help them out a little bit. They do have a decent midfield at Chelsea. They have a really solid midfield. But I think 1 or 2 more players in this window could really help solidify what Chelsea's going to do. And then obviously Liverpool, they still need to find some midfielders. They're not going to have the midfield depth week 1. So I'm still going to have Liverpool win this 2-1. But Liverpool, long term, they're going to need at least another player or 2 in that midfield, if you ask me. And then we got Wolves versus United. This is going to be my game of the week where there's just a blowout on Monday. United wins this 4-0. Let's be honest. Wolves, they're no good. They're really no good. They don't have anybody. Let's be honest. I'm looking at their roster right now, and there's not a single player on Wolves' roster that really frightens me if I'm Man United. Man United's got guys in their youth academy that are probably better than some of the guys starting for Wolves, if we're being honest. I don't know if he'll play because he hasn't been in the roster the last few games. I don't know if they'll keep him, they'll loan him, what they'll do, but Kobe Mainu has been solid for them when he did play. So, let's see his most recent game. He played against Madrid on the 26th, so he probably won't be on the roster. But I think there's a lot of talent there on that United team. I think there is. I think they're going to have a solid season, and unfortunately, I don't think Wolves are going to. I think Wolves are going to really have a poor season. And if they're facing a team that I think is going to be in the top, I think Man United is a team that could win 4-0. But thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next week.